Hey guys, welcome to Orbit Kegger. It's Rob. Today, we're going to rant about the state of music. Essentially, I'm going to be talking today about how just absolutely ridiculous it is how some people that listen to some type of music are treated in society. That being said, it's going to be mainly a conversation around metal. Let's get into it. Welcome back. Okay, so for me, my biggest thing with the way that people that listen to metal music are treated, you get, especially, so let me just put it this way. Ever since I was younger, not necessarily a little kid, when I was a little kid, I listened to like 70s, 80s with my mom and all that stuff. I got a little older. I listened to some stuff that my brother was listening to, like Cypress Hill, Crisscross, if you guys remember them, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all that stuff, NWA. Old school rap is cool with me. I like it, whatever. There's a stigma with that too. That'll be a conversation for another rant. But as I got a little older, I got into middle school, I started listening to metal music. So like the first metal album that I ever bought was Static X's Wisconsin Death Trip. Now, if you're following us on Instagram and stuff like that, you've probably seen the concert that Tanner and I went to recently, which was Static X, Dope, Mushroom Head, Wednesday 13. All these new metal bands that I and he grew up loving. So I've always been a big fan of heavier music, more crazy like thumping music and shit like that. Now, my mom was a pretty big proponent of making sure that I was able to listen to the music I wanted to. My dad was the same way, because they, as long as it wasn't overly obnoxious, like a lot of the rap music was starting to get to in the 90s, the later 90s and then into the 2000s, it rap kind of lost all of its luster for me. But metal never did. So one of the cool things is my mom was always ready to listen to a song that I had, that I had been listening to on repeat. She would come in and she would say, "I want to hear this song that you're listening to because it sounds kind of cool." So my mom would sit down on my bed while I played my stereo, or whatever CD I might have in at the time. She went through Mudvayne with me. She's gone through Pantera with me, Sepultura. She's gone through Slayer. She's gone through Death. She's gone through Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse is one of my favorites because I think that that's the epitome of like your thrash or death metal music. Like, I mean, obviously they're one of the most popular death metal bands on the planet, but they're not, I don't know. I really like them. They came out with a new album recently, which is called Red Before Black. It's a fantastic album. The opening track on the album it just hits. My dad used to take me to Ozfest when I was a kid. Like I went to Ozfest from 98 through 2007, 2008. And then, obviously from there it was going and doing grown-up things because I was an adult at that point. Couldn't really afford to go. But I've met several bands, several lead singers. I've got tons of autographs, and I couldn't have asked for a better childhood when it came to music and the support that my parents gave me. That being said, sometimes being a metal guy, you're not always the most clean cut. polo shirt wearing kind of guy. There's been a lot of times that I wore jeans or black pants, like with the bondage rings and shit on them, and all black. And believe it or not, I used to have hair. But yeah, I used to wear stuff like that, and thankfully, the high school that I went to, there were a handful of judgy people, but for the most part, everyone got along with everyone. So I was in several sports. I played football, I wrestled, I was in track. And then on top of that, I also was in show choir, band, concert, or marching band, concert band, jazz band, and advanced band. So I was band nerd, percussionist, obviously, kind of figures, right? So I was considered one of the popular kids because I would, I played these sports that a lot of the other popular kids played. But getting into that was, that's something that I enjoyed as well. I mean, I'm a metal guy at heart, but at the same time, I'm also a guy that loves to play sports. So my high school was pretty good. I know there's a lot of other people, a lot of younger kids out there now that listen to certain bands that they just can't, they don't get to be themselves. Does that make sense? There's a lot of crap out there now where it's the there's like the screamo emo kind of guys. Some of the deathcore and screamcore bands like Bring Me the Horizon. I know I like their music. I'm not, I don't own any albums or anything, but I listen to them on Spotify randomly. But they have a following of kids that generally they have that hair that's a little longer and it's got the streak of different color in it and all that crap. And it's just they get picked on, and that's not okay. You can't pick on somebody because of the way they dress. You can't pick on somebody because of the way or what music they listen to or anything like that. It's not fair to your fellow humans to be that much of a dickhead when it comes to certain things. Now, me and Tanner have been to a lot of concerts together. We went to the big three, Static X, which is our new metal heritage. We went to Sabbath together, their last show in Noblesville, Indiana. And then we also have been to Dream Theater, which is one of my all-time favorite bands, which isn't necessarily a metal band, but they are definitely a prog rock band. They're not the same since Mike Portnoy left, but that is definitely coming. That is for another day. So we've seen all these different kinds of people, and the best part about metalheads is that they're not all the same. It's a very, very diverse crowd for any metal concert you go to. You have people that are 17, 18 coming into it for the first time ever, like really getting into these bands or going to concerts, all the way up to 65, 70-year-old people who have, like for Sabbath, who have been following them for many, many years. And then you have some of the smaller concerts that we've been to. He went to, I didn't have a chance to go with him on this one, but it was Whitechapel, and they were in a smaller setting. So he said it was substantially, it was just really freaking cool. We've been to 36 Crazy Fists. We've been to, we've seen Boris the Blade, which is, if you guys haven't heard Boris the Blade, I recommend them. They're these death metal guys, or screamo death metal. They're not screamo. They're more like deathcore. They're like deathcore from Australia. Crazy motherfuckers, but super down to earth. We had a chance to talk to their lead singer, and he was just like, "Man, I want to settle down in the United States, but I want someplace where I can fish and I can hunt because that's what I do back home." So of course, where we're at, you can definitely do that. It's not a, it's kind of a standard out in the country where we live. But that being said, we've been around metalheads for a long time, and we see that some people can be absolute fucking pricks to human beings, and it's not cool. Metal nowadays is kind of, it's got it, you know, it's in a different direction than what I had when I was a kid, what Tanner had when he was a kid, and it's starting to kind of curve in a direction that, you know, I don't really necessarily like it. We've gotten away from like speed metal and thrash and stuff like that from when we were kids in the 80s, and it's just, it gets kind of, you know, it bums me out a little bit, but at the same time I'm excited for the music scene coming up, seeing what they can do, how they can do it, and hopefully in the next, I don't know, maybe 5 years or something like that, maybe we'll come back, or because, you know, music trends tend to repeat themselves, so maybe we'll come back to some cool thrash metal, you know what I mean? Like, you can't beat the fact that Slayer was one of the coolest thrash metal bands out there. I mean, they were phenomenal, and, you know, Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King together, just doing what they do, along with Tom Ayara doing his bass work and his yelling, just phenomenal. Absolutely cool, absolutely awesome. And there goes that. But, you know, I think that there's promise, but I also at the same time don't necessarily want to go to any concerts that are coming out, you know. It's hard to justify. If you ever look at like the festivals, like the metal festivals, their lineups, they always have like these big hitter bands at the top, and then you've never heard of these smaller bands. But that's good, because it'll introduce you to something. Like when we saw Black Sabbath, the band that opened for them was called Rival Sons, and I would have never known about them. They're like a bluesy rock band. I would have never known about them if they didn't open for Black Sabbath on their farewell tour. So, you know, you find new music that you like all the time. But I think I've made my point. So, if you see somebody dressed like a metalhead, you know, don't laugh at them. Don't be a prick. Just treat them like a person, because that's what they are. They just happen to like a different kind of music. Plain and simple. All right, guys. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell at the bottom. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. If you want to see some behind the scenes kind of things, and maybe you want to like kind of give us a little boost, you know, join our Patreon. You can join for as little as $1 a month. If you guys have any beer suggestions, pairing suggestions, if you have any more rant suggestions, anything like that, let us know. Make sure to check out Tanner's Budget Booze reviews, Tanner and I's beer reviews. We have a Christmas one out. It's pretty awesome. And make sure you definitely check out Dom's cigar reviews. Phenomenal cigar reviews. The guy is very in-depth. He'll give you everything you ever wanted to know about it, except for exactly how it tastes, because you have to do it yourself. So please check us out. Drop a comment down below. We like it when you say hi. Just saying hi makes us happy. Until next time, guys, cheers.